Recording in progress. Got it. Just to restart. Emilio Maldonado, Artist Relations Director, been in the position since 2022. As part of the efforts, is where I was, we've been trying to have a little bit more of the opportunities that go out to the people to apply, to really be able to access, and as a way to respond to the question of how do I get involved with mural arts. So through this process, I will be talking about where to find the opportunities, what terminology into the what an RFQ and RFP is, and why are each one of them necessary to be considered, and then what information to find through this document, and in the search of like understanding if this is something that you want to pursue, if you're the right fit. This is not the only way to get in touch with the institution. We're going to be in the future expanding into these conversations, but with this is the focus is on these opportunities that are out for you guys to understand, like how to get to them, where to find them, how to apply to them, which material to have, what is the relevance of these requirements, given that there are always questions about the differences of requirements between opportunities. So we are going to start ahead of schedule. I didn't anticipate. It's always difficult to know, like, what do you do in terms of introducing yourself and the work that you're doing. So what I'll do is that I'll pass to the next point. And when we get to the question and answer, then we can retouch anything that may have left behind. So the first thing is, where do you guys find the opportunities? And then many of you, and I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm a very musical individual. You guys sadly will have to deal with it. And so the first thing that I want to is to call attention to everyone for the Mural Arts website. If you are, and I'm going to start, actually it was going to home. If you are arriving to the Mural Arts website from the home page, you're going to be seeing on the top here that it says for artists. So many of you got the information for the opportunity either through other channels or through Instagram, which I'm going to be touching base on those in a moment. But then the one thing that I would like to encourage everyone is to really be able to understand, like, where to find it on the site. Within the for artists section, you're going to see a series of options that will talk about the fellowship. And in this case, clicking here would go to the Black Artist Fellowship, which is one of the opportunities that we're going to be discussing, talking about during this call. Within the artist opportunities becomes then the focus of our visit to this page. And it's understanding that anything that goes as an RFQ and RFP, and I'm going to backtrack a little bit into that in a moment, is going to be present on this page. Now, I heard an echo. Is that somebody asking that question right now, or is that just a new person that is? Okay, cool. So just to touch base, that we got two terms that we're going to be using a lot. One of them is RFQ, is request for qualifications, and the other one is RFP, that is request for proposals. Although these are meant to touch base into two different needs within an application, they are exchangeable. Like one of them will need maybe I didn't make it time to join. Cool. Welcome, Christian Casañas. So going back to the topic, RFQ and RFPs, you have elements of each one of them that play to the other. RFQ is the request for qualification. Is a call in which the main material that you're going to be submitting is material that shows where you have come from, in a way, which is a series of elements, just like image portfolios, which are always going to be included. Depending on the opportunity, you might be required a CV, and others are like exhibition, like like what have you done as an artist. Others requirements then might be for you to submit a website and submit references. All these things are part of the request for qualifications. It's like what qualifies you to be able to take this role. It is important for us then as a professional endeavor to have an updated repository of information about your career. So this is like kind of like the office work that you're always going to have to do. So each one of these opportunities, and Mural Arts is making the effort of really trying to make more available to the public. It is meant, it's like applying for a job. And yes, it feels like it's applying every time that you want to be part of it, is applying to a new one. But then this is part of the equity work, the idea that not just one person gets every job that is available, but that each one of us just really get the chance to be able to compete and be recognized in a specific circumstances and situations. Now, within that, an RFP will be a request for proposals. And then for that, I'm going to be jumping into the documents that we're talking about. And this is a request for proposals. And the request for proposals, when you go and into the document, which we're going to be dissecting in a moment, it will give you not just the elements for the RFP and for RFQ, which is like elements that are common, but it's also may have a component of submitting or working on or understanding that as part of the application, either as a first phase or second phase. First phase, second phase means that sometimes you submit all material together. Sometimes you just request your qualifications. And then later, if you're selected as a finalist, you're asked for a proposal. You are going to be submitting a budget for the proposal or every other element that may be part of it. It may be a design of what is that you're going to be building. Sometimes it's a design and a budget. Design is usually the main focus, but it is also when topics are so open that are open to interpretation, then it allows you to really be able to explain what would you like to work in and then why. So within this, then I want to come to understanding that in the Mural Arts site, when you go to this and learn more and apply, in this case, it's going to be driving you to a document that is a reflection of the links that I have loaded. In other spaces that you may access it, like when I submit this through other channels, give it Feel a Culture in Liquid or some of the universities that we've been spreading information in an effort to really include a lot more people and to have the chance to develop interest in these. You may just like access a link that is going to drive you to one of these documents. Now, want to see how far I am into them, where to find them. We are right on target. This is beautiful. And then RFP, we have been putting it. So we have a couple minutes to reach that. I would like to speak then to take the chance to ask, just make a quick stop. And do you have any questions? And I know that I put break Q&A a little bit further, but so far into the part of opportunities, where to find them, and what are they? We're going to be touching into the how to apply in a moment, but I wanted to make a quick break and then see if anybody had a question about these two parts here. Anybody? Is everyone's feeling super certain? Can I give a quiz about this thing later? I might. Cool. If there are no questions, I would like to touch base now into how to apply. And give me a second. So the first thing that I want to encourage everyone is read the application, read the RFQ or RFP document. It is very important. Each opportunity is different. Each opportunity has a different background. Each opportunity has a different objective, regardless of. Mural Arts is a lot more than just making murals. There's a set of events and opportunities that are developed through the institution that allow you to have a multiplicity of artists from different backgrounds, but also a multiplicity of opportunities that you could be applying to. So I know that all of us as artists are really trying to make our space and our work to be known, but it is also important that you don't put more work than what you need to in your artistic endeavor. So I want to bring to the like this first section, like the first page that you always see is trying to boil down some elements that we want you to know that when it's going to open, some of them are going to vary. Then when it is going to be closing into the application deadline, for you to know from the beginning what's happening. And we're having these because we're going to be talking about this opportunity, but let me take a more generic one would be this opportunity here. And in this case, we added the info session link that we want to know, the artists to know immediately, like what we're talking about in terms of money. That does not mean in many cases that you have to read it as a, like the idea has been explained. When you see more in the document, you're going to get a better idea of what the budget or what the money that is given. Is it on the artist fee that we're referring to? Is it going to be a project budget? This thing may be referred, it's usually referred on this section here. So you seeing that an opportunity like the Philadelphia Black Artist Fellowship says $2,000 unrestricted funding is a very specific set of circumstances that make it so. So, but going to these, we always like to include the application link, which is we're going to be talking about like the how to apply on a further space, and to include very quickly what would be a point of contact in case that you would need some assistance to understand about the programming. So in the introduction, what you're going to be finding is basically why, like what is the project about, and then that is going to give you a setup with this in terms of representation, like how do you want to align yourself within certain projects is going to be you're going to be able to start getting some of what it means to, and then depending the opportunity, you're gonna have an additional project background. That's going to also allow you to see how does that get to Mural Arts, who are the pairing artists or the institutions that are working through the process, if there are requirements specific to what the flow is going to be, and then that within these to get that information, like to really start getting what happens. Sometimes, like in this case, there is some information here that is hyperlinked for you to get a little bit more background about why, and then not necessarily just with Mural Arts. Then this section about Mural Arts is generic. Sometimes, depending on the interest of getting to know people, that is located here or is located after the requirements of application. But the usual section then that you're going to find, depending on the opportunity, is usually the focus of is going to be the scope of work. This is important. The scope of work can be divided into sections. Sometimes the scope of work is a generic space that, not generic, like it's very well merged. And then the scope of work is like what the project is going to be really going for. What is the things that you may be required of the artist. What is and then this is like willingness to participate in a community engagement process to inform the mural design is something that is very specific to the project. So all these requirements, they're going to be changing based in opportunities, and that will give you is like understanding what are the needs of the projects in terms of availability, knowledge, time, and that also can guide into the responsibilities, which the responsibilities of the artist and the institution, like what's going to be like the division of these things. Another section is then the artist fee and budget is going to have now a more open breakdown of to what happens. Sometimes we would be mentioning that this is the fee that may go to an artist, but the budget of the project budget is another number. And then in other spaces like this, you're going to have an understanding of what is the installment, like how is it that you're actually expected to be remunerated for your efforts. It is important to understand that there is a difference between projects and RFQs and RFPs based on who's the partner, how the funds are being like received. It's not, especially when Mural Arts develops projects in partnership with other institutions, it depends on the way that they work for us to be able to really make it work. And then so there's always a negotiation. Yes. Allow recording. So now this is very specific, and we're going to be revisiting these later. And so, okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So next section, you're usually going to be finding a breakdown of what you're expecting in terms of timeline. And again, depends on the project. These considerations might be very, very constricted. Some other projects may be taking a year and change, or it depends into what conversation actually is, what is the intention of the project. There are different lengths. So you may find something here that it tells you specifically this is the projected timeline that we have. And then please consider these things when you're thinking of applying to this, because you have to know what's going to happen in your life. If you are in college, and you have to take in consideration how much time you're really going to be spending working on a project that may need an availability that, give or take, that can or may not happen. Then selection process continues to the idea of like what is it that is going to happen. Who sometimes is very specific into who's the panel and then why the panel is there. Sometimes it's just giving you a general idea that we're going to be working between institutions, because maybe the specific panel has not yet been decided by the time that the opportunity goes out. So it is expected. We're trying to bring the opportunity so it gets to the artist in a timely manner, so later the project is not like constricted to a way that make it either too much pressure or prohibited. Now, my favorite part, because it's the thing that as an artist I'm like cool, I want to know about how much money or whatever, and time, like cool, like generally, but is this part. And this is the part that I say to people, really pay attention, start working. If you don't have a practice of organizing these things, like make your office hours, put yourself to the task of the requirements of, and it may be that a request for in a project is very loose, and it is who actually brings the project in, and how is it managed. And some others are like, we really need to feel that there is a very strong alignment, because the population with which we're going to be working has a specific requirement. So it does, we all have to understand that, because I've heard some concerns that like, why are they all different? They say, well, every project is different, every child is perfect. So kind of like we all have to adapt to this part. So in this case, it's like a CV resume, artist website, which is very common. These are like elements that are very common within opportunities. And a cover letter, for most spaces, you will need a cover letter. Some others, the opportunities that are more of an entry level, it may not be, but in exchange, they may ask like a question is, what about this project caught your attention? So it may be substituted with that, and then we make our best to try to give you some hints of what you should be addressing for you to really be touching all the points that what we're going to be, not we, because I'm not in every committee, but the people in the committee are going to be looking at. In terms of images, there is something that I've been working very hard, is to institute a more like expecting the images in a specific format, just for the sake of like working through a lot of applications. When you change format based on your the system on your computer, it may or may not be an inconvenience sometimes. And with these, I'll say that the amount of images, prepare them in a portfolio, whatever it is that you need to have in your computer, just to be ready and upload. Be mindful of the pixel resolution, because if you have a small picture that you dragged out from your blog spot, may not be the best resolution ever. So take good pictures of your work. If not, try to find the best resources. And we will be doing a whole session into how to do this, like perfect framing, because sometimes like make them clean, please. Don't have backgrounds. We don't want to see how cute is your cat or your size next to painting. Like try to take pictures of the work that really reflect just the work, so to make it as direct as possible. And in many instances, you are also going to be required specific set of information about the work. It is important for us to always be having this. So I would encourage you to really have, in this case, this information is the most relevant to have. That said, all this is a preamble to answer this question: how to apply. For applications, this link is something that you will find both here on the top of the document that we make for easy access, and then down here. The rest of the document is usually going to talk about needs that you're going to have to be conscious when you're applying. As contractors, artists fall in the category of contractors, and as contractor, it's expected that people would need to have their own insurance, and then there are other conversations and ways in which, if you don't have an insurance, it should not be a deterrent. There are allocations for that within the contract, but then they impact how they impact the way that pay then gets delivered. So that's a conversation that can be expanded and specific if you get selected, and then other information that may be relevant based on the project. Some of them, this information is not relevant, so may not be included, or they're just included because we try to make it like a general knowledge thing, and they may not be necessary for the project themselves. It all depends. It's a hit or miss, but it is just all for the sake of having all necessary information. So if there is a relevant question that is being asked, then that there is not a mishap within that. All that is going to be submitted. We have been working very, very, very hard to institute a series of systems that will allow us to really understand the people that are applying and the needs that each of the artists may have. And then the Airtable is a system that we've been using for some time now in an effort to really bring to really funnel things, so it does become a similar aesthetic. I am very big on aesthetic, so I like feeling that I will find the same thing. It's going to be already defining this for you, and the information you're just going to be inputting the information on these forms. They're all going to change based on the application, so they're all made to just reflect the information that each one of the programs and opportunities has. Image lists, references, so all this information. The formats that are preferred are JPEGs as a base, and PDFs. Docs, document, they are difficult to open, and because the docs, Word has so many variations, and then that you get those endings really making it loading a lot of time. So maybe work them in doc and save them as PDF before submitting. It would make my life, at least, a lot easier. So I would appreciate that. So we did get now to the intended point. I will stop sharing for a moment, and I want to ask if you have any questions, please. This is the moment about applications in general.
Yeah. I went through the list of
one person at a time. Sorry about that. I will, when you are interested, either raise your hand and then let that way we keep a little bit. Kelly Lawler, you said yeah, but then we start here. So I would like to give the baton to you if you have a question. Kelly? No? Is it okay if I move? Well, okay. So if you have a question, please hold it, and we're going to come back to you. Ashley Roman, please go ahead.
Hi, so I also was on the website for the fellowship and was looking at how to do apply and everything. It doesn't exactly look like what yours look like. Am I maybe in the wrong spot? It doesn't have the option to add the cover letter, and yeah, it just looks different.
Well, that I will say, what I'll do is that we're gonna be talking about the fellowship in a moment, but I will be opening as all the questions come up. I want to see the link in a moment, and group chat. And by the way, I will be putting again, because some people joined afterwards, putting it on the chat. You're going to be seeing a breakdown of the timeline. So we're going to be talking about the Black Artist Fellowship in a moment. But
Oh,
just
okay.
in case. Yeah. So
Okay,
just
gotcha.
for that. Any other
Thanks.
questions in the meantime? Because I will be going to the page just to make sure that everything's good, and then we continue. But feel free to. Is any other question that you may have? Okay, so just to recap on this part, I would like to share screen. Where are you again? Because before I was sharing my whole screen, and here it is. So this is what happens when I click on the link. Is that what you're seeing, Ashley?
Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm seeing. Exactly.
Is there a question that you have about specifically this material?
Yeah, is this for the one where you were referring to for the cover letter and everything, or am I just, is that
So
something else?
maybe you got in a little late. I
Mhm.
was talking in general where to find RFQs, how to access them, what do they mean, each one of the sections of it. And then within that, I was explaining that given each opportunity is going to be different because they have different requirements. Like,
Oh, okay.
and then I even try to make the joke that every child is special and unique. So it was
I
that
see.
was the point.
So not all of them are going to need like a colorful
No,
letter. Okay.
so what it may be, some of them, it depends on the philosophy of the specific opportunity, on the partners and the requirements, on the population with which they will be working. The Black Artist Fellowship is very specific. So we're going to be talking about it. I think that's the first one that we're going to be touching base. So in
Okay,
terms of
great.
general application, and is there anything that any of you would like to ask?
No, thank you. I was
Yes.
just confused, I guess, but
Yeah.
thanks.
So, and if nobody else has a question, then I will start talking about the Black Artist Fellowship, and then we're going to be trying to keep it right on track. Wow, this is perfect. By the way, applause to all of you. We reached on time. At 6:32, between 6:35 and 40 was supposed to be a break. So this is drinking time. Yes, thank you. Okay, so if no more questions are coming in, I will talk about the Black Artists Fellowship. Is everyone seeing my screen? If not, please say no, because I'm not seeing.
No.
No, you're not seeing my screen. So, right, I had stopped sharing. There you go. So, Black Artists Fellowship. The Black Artists Fellowship is very much different than other applications because it is not about making murals. The Black Artists Fellowship is an effort to really recognize the artistic talent in the city of Philadelphia, and it's specific to also elevate Black voices. And it comes, as all of us experienced through 2020, there is a reminder that the world needs a little bit more to think about, and then to really take actions towards these efforts and needs. And within these, and that the Mural Arts try to respond to this social call that in create an opportunity that really touch into what are these narratives. When you apply, these are going to be the two people that are going to be your references and also guiding spirits through the whole experience. That is Noah Small and Ginger Rudolph, great people. One thing is that I got to my connection with Mural Arts through the Black Artist Fellowship 2021, and it was a way that allowed me to connect with the artistic art sphere in a different way that I had before, and it is why I started believing that there was like work that I could bring into the artist sphere. So I can speak like firsthand the spaces that it has opened to me in terms of like me understanding that community is important to the part that you can actually help the community. And then that our interests have to follow also those through action. Like your actions have to follow your intention within this thing. So when you go here, you're gonna into the background and introduction background, because of it's trying this opportunity, because of its interest and accessibility. Then you see that it already is breaking up with that format, that you have introduction and you have the background of the project. It's like trying to be concise and trying to bring this information down. Is present here now. If you are accessing, just to make a segue to that, it's posted here as an opportunity on the opportunity section, but because of its inception, if you were to click here, is that same information. And this is a specific case, you're going to be finding the information here. Like, so 2020 to fund, foster, and elevate the important work of emerging artists. Like, you guys can go through this by yourself. It is important for you to understand usually always that what the project entails, and then $2,000 unrestricted funding. And this is the one opportunity that it is just like about supporting your career and then trying to elevate your voice based on whatever practice you have. And then these and the way that you spend the money is up to you. I would always advise people to really think about what does my career needs, and then sometimes your career needs you to pay your rent. That's true. And sometimes it needs you to buy a tool. So it is very personal. Many people have done different things. And then in my case, it is what allowed me to have my first studio ever. And then since then, I've been lucky enough to be able to keep it. But this is the kind of thing that when we state the importance of really giving access to people, is what you refer to. Networking opportunities, yeah, I'm here. Fellowship, cohorts, local artists and professionals. Like it really has connected and me, and it connects artists in every cohort with each other, with the atmosphere in general. Career development workshops, and which keep growing, and we keep having more of not just impact through them, but also to understand the nuances of what different artists may need. Exhibition opportunities, which just by getting to know people, they're going to happen. So all these are elements that happen just by being in a relationship with other art, but there's also a set of opportunities to exhibit through the cohort that are made through partnerships with other institutions. One-on-one consultation with renowned curators. So like starting with Ginger Noah and DJ Rudolph and Noah Smalls. Those are the first two curators that you're gonna find. So from the get-go, you're already speaking with two people that are connected to their environment in their own way, and that really have a deep knowledge of what the city has produced and can produce, and really believe in it, because they expand the conversation and challenge in ways that really have allowed people to have access to the space. And then opportunities to create your new work, that's mostly up to you, but that's the whole thing. At the end is the ability of you allowing yourself to believe in yourself, and then see what you actually do. In this case, when you see that eligibility is also a factor that is like cobbled within every RFQ or RFP that goes out. But then in this case, like, you can see that who is it directed to, and then this is the opportunity for you or not. Full description PDF is just gonna take you to that document that I got, and the apply here is gonna take you to the form. So that's kind of the base of the opportunity. Nevertheless, I do want to open a couple minutes to know the ones of you that came to the meeting because of this opportunity, if there are specific questions that you would like to make. I have internal knowledge, like I came here because of this, like I'm connected to Mural Arts, so ask away, like this is the best chance ever. Anyone? Are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure that there is but thank you, Ashley. Go ahead.
All right. So since you said this opportunity isn't for a mural specifically, do you think that like getting like if you were to get the scholarship, do you think you would be able to possibly be able to work with mural arts and like be able to create a mural, or
All the
just work
time.
with you all in some way?
Yeah, like I'll say like all the time, and I say I am studio artist. I have made murals in the past. I have 2 degrees, 3 degrees basically in painting. So I can paint, and I am like a design professor and all that. So I can make a mural, but I don't want to be making a mural at this age of my life. And so my whole use of it was connecting. It was really trying to see where it is, but where my work can go, the work that I'm producing. But we have fellows in every cohort that end up being part of mural making. We have Nazir Zabri, which is like right now it's very well known. Nazir Zabri had his mural. He started working before, had been part of the youth program, but he was a cohort. He was in the 2020 cohort, and then he has continued to. That we have other artists that I cannot remember. I'm going to mispronounce her name, so I'm not.
You're all
I'll
good.
just say that. So I've seen in every cohort people that their work alignment goes and really comes, and you do get the chance. And if you develop the interest, you can say, "Hey, I'm interested in making a mural." And based on the kind of work that you do, there is certain availability that may get you there. Maybe it's a little bit more difficult, and it's just like trying to work. Like me as a sculptor, which we can have another conversation about that. As a sculptor coming out to a mural, then let's see if there's a project that qualifies. But if you're already working with illustration or painting and you're showing certain attitudes, and sure, it may be that depending on what if you're good artist and terrible composer, like doing composition. Like there is the navigation.
There's
of,
definitely like factors.
But not necessarily, because it's not like you're gonna jump to be a lead artist. But what if first do you want to be? Are you interested in working as an assistant artist, and then work through the steps to really be leading your project? That is the least, because most of the times the people that come to Mural Arts Black Arts Fellowship have a well-developed practice, but there are spaces and practices that have been identified with the sense of elevating and really allowing them. And these individuals have gained a lot with really being part of the cohort and grow exponentially. So it's like where you are, it's like, you are in the football team, so you made it, but you can't be always the quarterback.
Right. Okay. Well, it's definitely going to be an opportunity for sure. That's you can be confident about in some way.
I'm going to speed up the questions because I saw that there are a lot more hands. I saw Diego before, which I'm not seeing now. If you have a question, Diego Mendoza, go for it, and then going to continue there.
Hi. Hey, everybody. I'll make it quick just because I'm just curious, and I'm kind of new here still in Philadelphia. I moved here a bit ago, but I'm just trying to catch up after a lot of stuff. But I love the program that you guys have with the fellowship. But out of curiosity, I also wanted to ask, not to take away from anything, but do you guys have any projects or programs that are fellowships like this for any Mexican/Hispanic artists in the Philadelphia community, by any chance?
In the Philadelphia community, that's another conversation, by the way. What I'll do is that as we talk a little bit more, because now Sahit is going to be talking about another opportunity in a moment, I'm going to be putting on the link, my Calendly link, because you can have 30 minutes like conversation with the artist relations of the director at any freaking point that is available. So we can continue that. As far as I know, not specific for Latinx artists. There are institutions and that are at a national level that do recognize that. So we can touch back to that.
Sounds great.
So perfect. I got still Tom and Alicia. So let's go with Patrick Dempsey, Tom. So I believe Patrick, you were first. Later we go with Tom, and then with Alicia. Quickly, Patrick.
Cool. Hey, Emilio. Yeah, I just wanted to know if how many artists did the fellowship support in years prior? Like, is 15 always the number, or has it changed?
I know that it was like around 18 to 20 in previous cohorts. The last two cohorts have been, I think, 15 each one of them. Yeah.
I just was curious about that. Thank you.
So then I think Tom now, question?
Yeah, my question is, because I'm across the bridge in Willingboro, but I do the exhibitions. I do a lot of exhibitions in Philly because they just have more going on. Would that be considered as work in Philly, or because I work with galleries as well?
Yeah, so what you're saying means that you're a practicing artist. Would I have a chance to be part of it? So I'll say, cool, we are on time. This is great. So I'm terrible keeping time, so this is like a win for me. So we are always trying to be flexible within processes and thinking about where does Philadelphia stops and then what, because so I would say this is a question that I would refer to the curators of the project, because I am not sure what was the last determination of that. There is the reality that there is so many artists, and then so many artists that are worthy. That is almost like, where do you trace the line? I don't know how far Willsboro is, so
It's 15 minutes across the bridge. You know what I mean? They consider it the greater Philadelphia area, people outside of the area. So, that's kind
yes. So that is, I will say, because I am not from Philly, that has always been a like greater Philadelphia area. So it's New Jersey, like but and then you go the same thing as if you work in Philadelphia and you live in kind of like, well, you have to pay taxes. Like I'm still confused. But I will say that's one that I'll have to return to you in as an email. I will bring the question, or I would encourage you to ask this question through the Ginger and Nod, through the email that is on the RFQ, because it will allow them to be able to respond with the authority that it carries.
Fair enough.
I know that didn't actually answer your question.
No worries.
Cool.
Okay.
And then Alicia.
Hi, good afternoon. So for the Black Fellowship, do you guys hire, well, not hire, but like, do you guys like allow poets? Is that a thing, or is it only visual artists only?
So for these, that was a question for many years, and then like, where does it, what is the art? Every artist should be recognized, and then, but also, what tools does the institution have to properly support the artist? And then I'll say, it's a conversation that is ongoing. I've been trying to really recognize all the people's work through the efforts of the Artist Relations Office, the director position, and gather this information. It has come up that through these other ways, like you allow, like you find things, it's like, hey, in case of one of you is like a poet, like just go do this. And then in previous years, and we had a lot of people that were on the music realm or dance, and then we started thinking that there was a conversation that, like, when you see something that is visual, we can support it because we can include it in programming that it already exists. If you were to have as a poet to apply, there is a question, is like, would Mural Arts actually be able to support you? And so you see, like, the commitment is to elevate the voice, not just to give them $2,000 to say good luck. And then there is that question. Nevertheless, I like to read and revisit things as long as people ask. So this is not a question that I will personally be bringing to the curators to see what are the possibilities, because I hate to say, as a poet, maybe this is not the opportunity for you, but I also don't want to say for sure go at it and give you a false hope. Does that at least addresses your feelings around things?
I'm mainly a poet. I do other things, but the bulk of what I do is like poetry. So that's why I was like wondering. But yeah, okay.
Now I can answer that last part that you said as a hustling artist. just go for it.
Right.
Because the thing is that you opening your way, it also makes a question to your own practice. What does it mean for you to be a poet in a visual artist world? How are you going to represent that? I have my own answer, because I also like my main way of artistic expression is writing and poetry. And that I am like, I want to make that evidence. So I'm starting a whole series that is just about me expressing my thoughts in writing as a visual thing that is going to end up in a gallery. So now I'm like, you can be creative into like, yeah, I've been working on this and this, but this is the thing that I want to do. Then actually like try to justify these things into the application and see how it actually transpires. Because that is the kind of risk that I can tell you by heart that it is a question that is open within the application process. And just for a personal note, I am born and raised in the Caribbean, Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. I am my color because of my African ancestry, and my culture is very Afro. So when people talk about Blackness, there was always a question of how do I qualify within that? And I was selected for the Black Arts Fellowship. And later when talking with the curators, they told me, when we saw your application, we had that question, where does Blackness end? And then that they are very open to really explore what are fringe perspectives within the regular narrative.
Thank
Does
you.
that, so possible.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Cool. So just to keep us on track, Q&A, we're really close. That's perfect. I'd rather have
fucking help.
Huh?
Sorry, my background. So sorry.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? Anybody else? If that is the case, then I think that we can go and start then moving into the next section of these. We are going to have a presentation because this is like part of this thing. I'm taking opportunities that are also in the atmosphere and incorporated on these kind of presentations, because I want people to understand what the things that are out there. In this case, now I'm going to be passing the mic to Sahiti Botan, project manager in the art ed department. Is working in the first installment of Small Walls. Sahiti, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself for a moment.
Hi everyone, my name is Sahiti Bonam. I'm a project manager here at Mural Arts, and I am working with Emilio to push forward the pilot program of Small Walls, and I will be walking you through about like what's the background and eligibility, and then of course please ask me questions. Let me see if I can share my screen. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, I think that's it. Cool. So just to reiterate again, Small Walls is in the Artist Opportunities tab on the Mural Arts website. So if you scroll down after the Fellowship for Black Artists, you will see RFQ Small Walls. And if you click over here, follow this link, it'll take you to the application link, and where you can submit everything over there. And to get the full details of Small Walls, you'll just have to click here for the RFQ. It's pretty detailed, but I do really recommend to take some time and read it. So yeah, I do have a presentation for us. All right, so here's about Small Walls. So Small Walls is a pilot program that is to create an entry point for artists, especially if you've been artist assistants or teaching artists and are looking for that opportunity to be a lead, like leading your first mural project. We want to amplify emerging artists, and especially those who can show that they're capable muralists. Our approach to Small Walls is kind of low barrier, without much maintenance, and does not require a lot of like, let's say, scaffolding. We're kind of make things minimal. And we want to make sure that we better reflect the representation of the city's diversity and the marginalized communities here.
Just
Yes.
can I make a note there? Just one thing and then this is the part of I've been reached out recently a lot like interested, a lot of artists interested in this opportunity, and then I'm like, read the RFQ, please. And because it will save you maybe the disappointment. Maybe it's like you have to really make sure that the alignment is for you. These installment of small walls, this is like trying to respond to the idea of like what is representation within, how do you become a lead artist. But with these installment of small walls, it's going to be directed specifically to artists that have been mural arts assistant artists either in the present or in the past like year or so. Like it's like very recent, and the idea is that there have been a lot of assistant artists that have taken a lot of time, have worked in a lot of murals, and could use the encouragement to say like, hey, like this is something that you can do. Like you can do it. So that and it is a program that is hoping to grow to encompass more and more and more like different perspectives, and then the ability to include graffiti artists specifically, and then do these things. But in this one installment is specifically for current and former assistant artists. So, take it away.
Yeah, since this is a pilot program, we have a lot to learn after this experience and like to work on afterwards for the next iteration. So that's why we are just testing it in a more controlled way. All right. So this type of process will be the RFQ application based. So it's a request for qualifications. So you'll just be submitting like relevant works of art, your CV, resume, and referrals who can attest to your skills. The interesting part about small walls is the artist will have control over the design, and we actually are foregoing the community engagement process. So Mural Arts is very big on community engagement for any mural production, but this is I would say maybe one of the first few programs where we're not going to go ahead with that. And we want to give the artist complete visual aesthetic agency. And yeah, but definitely keep in mind, we don't want to have topics and imagery that's offensive to any community. And we will have high expectations of the quality of work and through the design process. There'll be a design review. I'll talk about the timeline in a bit, and you'll have the support of Artist Relations Director Emilio and myself through this whole process. We are approximately on a 6-week timeline from like contracting to the completion of the mural itself. So it's really quick. It'll probably be high stress, and so definitely keep in mind about time management. So it's called small walls because the walls that we have targeted are 12 by 20 feet, which are considered small in comparison to murals here in Philadelphia. And we plan to have this as a rotational program. So the mural that the finalists will be working on will be up for approximately a year. And then with our wall partners, we'll have the next iteration after a year. So these are just some examples of, these are the upcoming examples that have never been part of small walls, but just kind of like what we're looking for, or like kind of like inspiration in terms of scale and quality of work. So this is about the eligibility and criteria for applying to small walls. So like I said, it's for emerging artists and need a breaking point in their career and would really benefit from leading their own project. Candidates need to be Philadelphia based. You should be having mural production experience. So that would be either as an artist assistant, someone who has gone through training programs, teaching assistants, teaching artists, etc., and have the proven ability to scale work onto a large flat surface. the next point is expected regardless is you want to make your mark in the creative industry over here through mural production. And in terms of skill and technical areas that we will be looking for is an appropriate sense of design and composition, ability to handle material for mural production. You have the skill set to mix colors accurately. So whatever you have in your design, will you be able to reflect the colors from your design to the actual mixing of mural paints? And appropriate representational skills. So we have an artist selection committee put together. So it'll be reviewed along with Emilio and I. We will be having Shatoya Howard, who is part of Mural Arts and is on the DEIB committee. And we also have two external panelists, Kiara Lambert and Matthew Ruganoth. And it'll be a really quick selection process. We're doing from selecting semifinalists, interviews, and finalists within a week. So there will be, from the pool of applicants, we will be selecting folks to interview with us, and then there will be 3 finalists from this process. So this is what you'll benefit from small walls. The opportunity to show your own style and lead your own project. There will be a $3,000 honorarium. So part of that honorarium would be $500 to spend on supplies for your mural production. You'll receive support and guidance from us and other staff members of Mural Arts. We will also be having an artist talk for the finalists, and once the mural is completed. So whenever we have a date set in the venue and all, you will also be receiving a $200 honorarium for that. And you will get platformed onto Mural Arts' social media.
So before we go to questions and answers, I would like to say that just to bring it on a straight point, people, if you wanted a chance to really do your thing, this is what this is for. We've been trying our best to really create a space in which the walls are there for the artists, and then there is the reality that Mural Arts has grown out of community engagement, but there is the recognition that artists want to be artists. So the institution is really taking a step to really provide for a platform that really starts understanding this. That's why I said that the intention of the program is to grow. We are starting with 3 walls, but it's also the intention of the program is to recognize talent, to really be able to give you things. We are giving the opening the door that design what you want to prove how good you are. That is the question. So this is a challenge. This is not $3,000 that is going to be like pocket thin. It's like we are trusting you. So, but the idea is that we are going to support you also on the way. In my case, I have been not just an artist, but also a museum professional and educator for more than 10 years. And one of that design professor is one of them. So I will be grilling you into where are you coming with things, and also giving you feedback. Look at these artists, look at this. So this is like the purpose. So hopefully this is a good motivation.
Yeah, and going off of what Emilio said, as a project manager, I also will be looking at your skills with communication, time management. Not only is Mural Arts, foregoing the community engagement process, but we have wall partners who are trusting to be part of this thing where we don't have a proposed design yet. So they're open to the idea of having whatever beautiful mural on their walls, but we want to make sure that they have the best of work on their walls, even if they don't know beforehand what the mural is going to be.
And this is also do what you're good at. If you're making a proposal to, it's do what you're good at, and it's open to also any kind of practice representation. if you are a graffiti artist in your personal practice, and that's exactly what I want to do. But I want you to ask yourself questions like, if can I make something that is based on my graffiti art that both a parent and a child can both look at and say, hey, that's cool, and then keep walking like that. That's the kind of thing. So but it's total openness, but it also comes with mindfulness and responsibility of being part of a community.
So these are just a few things that Mural Arts will ensure and support you in. So like we mentioned before, there will be a design review process, and Emilio and others will be there to grill you, but also give you feedback and work with you to make your vision come onto the mural. The walls that we have selected will be ready for you to install on. I will be on top of y'all to be complying with our expected timeline. And Mural Arts will work with you and our staff if there is issues of tagging or damage to the mural. So here's the project timeline. So submission deadline is Sunday, March 17th. So you do have some time to apply, and the application process is also not that rigorous. So that's approximately like 3 weeks from now. And we will immediately start the selection process. So there'll be a first round selection, which will be happening between March 18th and 20th. And then we will select the semifinalists to have interviews with us. So the interviews will happen on March 21st and 22nd. And then we will proceed with the artist selection of acceptance. And then we'll make sure to have contracts finalized like April 1st. They're already drafted with me right now. I just need to put in names. Even before we have like contract finalization, you approximately have like from the time of acceptance to design delivery, you have 2 weeks to work on your design review, I mean your design proposal. And we hope to start production so on April 18th. So that's when, you know, you go to the wall or work in your studio if you're working with polytab, parachute cloth. And then mural completion by May 3rd. And here are the walls that are part of this first iteration. So we have a wall in Fishtown. We have a wall that's across from Crane Arts. And we also have a wall that's in Bella Vista. So they all have really pretty good traffic and just acts like visual access of people seeing these walls. All right, then. I am now open to answering questions. All
Ashley?
right. Yes.
Hi, just a quick question. Was that the wall on the Clay Studio building? Or am I losing it?
Oh,
Next to the Clay
it's close.
Studio.
It's close to it. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Clay
Okay.
Studio, parking lot, that building that is like
Mhm.
next to that.
Oh, I see. Okay, thanks.
Sophia?
Yeah, I just have a question for like your intentions for the future of this project, because that timeline is like really early in the year. That means me as a student like literally can't do it. I was wondering if your intention for this is to like have this happen multiple times in the year or later in the year as well.
So the program is expected is aiming to have 2 sessions, one of them in the spring, the other one in the fall. If you're a student in college, that's kind of like always like smack down, and it may be that it's like precludes you from participating while that happens. So that's one thing, and then as explained, this is an opportunity that is made to like elevate people that have already an interest and experience within mural making, and that push will like help them have a recognition of their career. So I am not sure where you are within that like part of your artistic endeavor, but with that said, it is expected to have certain walls that open on the spring, certain walls that open on the fall, and then rotate that way that those walls are rotating within those two systems. So that will respond to your first question. Actually, you can lower your hand down for the moment, and Sophia, because I keep seeing them. Then, well, Sophia, did that answer your question?
Yeah. Do you have like tentative timeline for the fall yet?
Still not defined. And
Okay.
we are working, and part of like this first iteration is so short because this is dependent, like contingent to funds that have to be spent by the end of April. So this is it ends up being like this first thing is like a challenge. That's why that Saidi was referring that there's a lot of learning that we're doing through this process, and the hope is that it does become a constant rotating established program within Mural Arts that basically it is inspired a lot into the European open walls and like and I don't know if many of you like in France there are walls that are designated just for graffiti. So it's like taking of some of that and then what do we do in terms of programmatic like really, to really be able to recognize talent.
Okay, thank you.
And then Evie, question?
Yeah.
Can't hear you well.
Hello.
Well, yeah, now yes.
So earlier you guys were talking about like for the submission of work for the application, submitting relevant work. What are you considering relevant for this specific project?
Well, in this case, because it's muralism, this precludes, like it is a program that is made to elevate mural practice and that it requires to have experience in mural making. And so we intend to see what has your involvement been with that in terms of like the application in the city, for example. It is a good thing to say for us to understand the processes. If you have participated in programs like the mural training program with Mural Arts or work with other artists as an artist, that is good to know, as that's like part of like your CV application thing. But in terms of images, then we want to see work that reflects your technical capability in many ways. Like how do you handle actual representation of thing that you're trying to go? Because it's a representation. I'm not talking like beautiful. Like if your work is abstract, like what is the quality of your work within that way? And then in the same way to build up like what is the composition aspect of your work usually? Like where are you? Because this is not a program that is being developed to just give opportunities as an entry in terms of like entry and career in general. It is an elevation of a person that is already starting, that has like a practice that is constant in a certain way. Does that respond to the question?
Yeah, thank you.
Ashley?
I actually think Aga had her hand up before me.
Aga?
Oh, did not see that hand. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
In the chat, yeah.
I just have a quick question. I emailed, I think that was last week, Saiti, regarding my kind of profile. I want to be sure before I apply that I can, before I do the application for the call, I'm totally, into that range of people that you are looking at for that call. I was one of the first artists who've done the Mural Art Institute training, which was the first one in late 2019. So I just want to be sure, because I've got that training. It was an intensive training. It was coordinated by Nathaniel, and I don't know David Mamakshi, I think it's David actually, and it was just a very intensive 4 days of training, but we didn't really have the opportunity to work on a mural. We went through all the logistic and things we have to go through if we want to create a mural. We had a bit of a training with one of the mural artists on parachute clothes and all those kind of things. So we visited a few sites and so all that kind of trainings. But do you think I can apply for that kind of call, or I'm not qualified enough?
What is it, the practice, your usual practice?
I'm a printmaker. I'm a mixed media artist and a printmaker.
And have you ever worked as a lead artist in the mural?
No, never. I've done that training, which was created by the Mural Arts.
I work with the mural training with the Mural Arts Institute, so I'm familiar. Right now, the Mural Art training program is running, and Sahith is also part of it. So we're familiar with the program. But what I'm trying to see is like within that is like you're a printmaker. So and I know your name, and I think I know your work from other spaces. So I know in terms of quality that what it would mean, but I'm considering, because the program is intended to elevate muralists, people that have like a practice in murals. So that is the qualifying element that I would be like, usually what is your involvement, how do you get to it? So that this is like one of those tricky situations. It's like, yeah, like it would elevate, give you a platform, do this, but in terms of practice, is it the right space? And for example, another qualifying factor is like, have you been an assistant artist in the past year and a half?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Have you worked with Mural Arts as an assistant artist in the past year?
No. I have my full-time artist work on the side. I'm represented by galleries, etc. But I always had that dream of doing, murals. And I thought that could quite interesting for me. But I know I might not have the qualification apart that I've done that intensive training. Which was actually created to basically give all the tools to artists to create murals. But it stopped after those 4 days of intensive training, and that was it. And after COVID came, so anyway, it was difficult to do anything.
I am familiar with it because we're working into like what happens next on that part. Again, I've been working with the institute on that part. I'll say like I don't think that you would qualify for this opportunity, for this installment of the opportunity, and it's because this installment of Small Walls is specifically for current and former assistant artists. So it would be that. Nevertheless, like I didn't want to leave it until. Nevertheless, the program is working in tandem with other programs that we're trying very hard of not reproducing structures, thinking about Philadelphia as a whole ecosystem. And then like Front Street Walls has been taking the chance of like taking artists and really elevating on that way without that requirement. Because of that specific thing, we have made it so we're going to be serving this other population of artists. So the Front Street Walls is a thing that I would ask you to look into.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for replying to my and answering my question. And like that, I will leave you now and I won't apply to it. You send me
but
something.
there are other opportunities. That's the thing. Like there are other RFQs. Go to the website that you may want to apply to. There is one about printmaking that is looking printmaking by the people.
No, I know. I look at it. It's super complicated. It's easy because you have to be part of a community. And I'm a white woman, French white woman from Europe. I'm not, it's super difficult to go. I went, it's not my first time that I'm looking at the website and trying to apply, but it's tricky when you just want to do your own creation on the wall. You know what I mean? It's super selfish.
I believe that's like beautiful that you got to the point that you're like, yeah, I know that what is that my intentions are, and then how they align with the project. So I appreciate it a lot.
Never mind. I'm super happy I was able to listen to you both and to learn more about that call, and maybe there will be some opportunities another time.
I believe that Front Streets, I think the goal is for it to happen sometime in the summer. So I would say keep an eye out like late spring for the calls and stuff. Of course, it'll be amplified on social media and other platforms, but
right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Of course.
Bye. Thank you.
Cody?
Hi, yes, my name is Anne. Sorry, I should have changed my name on the Zoom. I have two questions. One quick question is there a minimum experience for the assistant artist, like is a minimum of 1 year with Mural Arts, or as long as we are current assistant artists or past assistant artists, and that counts?
You can say there is a maximum of experience. If you have been a lead artist already, then that does kind of disqualifies a lead artist in a significant way. Because if you've been like a lead artist, but it was like a one date, then that happens. That doesn't count. But there is a minimum of skill, which is you really have to be in a spot where being a lead artist of your own project makes sense. So that is what I would say. Like, and I don't know, I haven't seen your work, and I'd rather just receive it on the application. But you can send it. We can make a meeting and like see where you are within these things, and we can go over it.
Sounds good. Thank you. And then my second question is more specific to the topic and theme for the small walls. I see the location, and just for example, I'm of Asian descent, and like my general topics of interest are generally like Asian cultural themes. Is there any restriction on themes that you're looking through the applications?
No, be happy and there are always going to be challenges and questions. It's like you have to be understanding that why do you want to tell this story now that makes sense for you mostly, but in terms of topic and themes, like, no, we want to be able to really bring things that everyone's experience to be validated or to receive, not necessarily validated, but received, and then that you really can just pull from this opportunity for you to be you in a good way.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean,
Thank you.
the only thing is like, like sexually explicit content and profanities. Like, it's public space where like children will also, come access it and stuff. So just only that is like one of the like the things to keep in mind.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
Alicia?
Hi again. So my question is, if you do have experience with murals, but like, okay, I'm talking about myself really. So let me phrase the question for me. My question is, I have some experience. I have a lot of experience with murals, but like, when I'm sending in my application, I've never worked on a project where like my artwork, was the front work. Should I zoom in on the parts of the picture of the like finished murals where like I specifically worked?
I would say, so if let's say you're an artist assistant for a mural production, just say that you were assisting for that mural project, because we understand what it means to be an artist assistant. Like, you are there to do color mixing, you're there to paint on the wall, or if you work with polytab, you were also there to put the gel, put it up, all that whole process. So just say that you were assisting with that project. And then also, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's
and then just obviously put in works of your own so that we know what your style is, what your quality is, and like your strengths.
Gotcha. Thank you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, it is about your work. You put in your CV, I work with this person. It's okay, cool. We can ask them. But you show us like, this is my work, and I'm a badass. That's what I want to know.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ashley.
Oh, I'll say we're a little almost, so let's make this last one, Ashley, and then if you guys have more questions, then feel free to email Sahiti, and then you go from there. Ashley?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. For materials, what if you wanted to do like a mixed media type of thing? Would that be possible, or how does that work?
We would have to consider that the wall is going to be reused. So,
I see.
And
okay.
then that is, in this case, wouldn't be the appropriate kind of use of it.
I see.
Because
So
it's not going to be a permanent mural. It's going to be a rotating mural. So next year, when the next person comes, if we cannot scrape it and for it to last a year, it is unscrapable.
I see.
Then, yeah.
I understand. Thank you.
I think that's it for this conversation. The rest of the space we're going to be taking into talking about printmaking by the people, which is a very good opportunity. If you are, Ashley, your hand is up. Thank you very much. So now, give me a second. I would like to share my screen. Let me first pull out that specific RFQ, RFP, and okay. So the next opportunity that we're going to be talking is Printmaking by the People, opening September 7th. And please be very mindful of submitting the materials before the date. I really hate when I see people that are very good fit for the opportunity and they did not make it on time. And it is very hard because I have applied a lot late to a lot of opportunities, and I'm like, why won't they just consider me? But then it does become a thing in which you really have to be. You're making like, what is a good of a rule if it doesn't apply to everyone? So it is made as part of the initiative of the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Philadelphia 250 initiative, which has started a series of proposals and initiatives to recognize what has been referenced, but also to think about it in a way on what does it say about the future? What does it say for that we are today and that we are going to be moving as a nation, regardless of the country of origin, of course. And then organize a reflection, we'll talk about that. The project will reimagine the printmaking historic role in the public communication and civic dialogue, particularly its roots in Philadelphia. So think about how Philadelphia has been basically the first on everything on this country scene, like first school, first advertising, first capital. So it just continues to that. And then how does printmaking come into this conversation? And then the goal is to organize printmaking workshop that promote dialogue, that foster dialogue about Declaration of Independence. It's basically the ontological part, like what is the meaning of it, and then how does it speak about people that have to live with it still, and the historical connotations of it. Then it is a series of workshops to be organized in spring, and it is a pilot project that it hopes to really be part of this. It's part of this citywide project, and then also will through this process put you in contact with a series of programmatic efforts that end up having ending up with the creation of a mural, I believe, for next year, if I am not mistaken. 25 to 26. The workshop will be held in public locations, and there's the duration. Like, this is what I say about read the RFQs, so you can have a good understanding. And if you have any other questions, and then this is the moment where contacting, usually the person that is in charge of answering those questions of the project would be the most relevant. Around the scope of work is that the designing of the workshop in which will be responsible to develop these specific workshops, and then to produce a workshop. So it's basically you need to be confident into the creation of tissue material, and then also be comfortable in the implementation of this tissue material. And then with this, it's collaborative. So you're always going to have conversations about what its meaning, intent, purposes, and material needs are always going to be. You're going to be seeing here that the same thing onto what Mural Arts will be providing, and the deliverables, what is expected of you to be delivering of the project. Then within the fee and budget, this is all an engagement that will be paid at $1,000 total, because it's 3 projects, and then $350 for assistant material. So this is like, if you are experienced with printmaking and you have some experience with community engagement, this is a good intro project to really start coming in. It's an important project nevertheless, but it's a good intro to come into the institution. There is an amount of allowance into who's the candidate, and into understanding that the population has to be serviced, and in an appropriate way. But this is the kind of thing that I said, like, look at the budget, look at the kind of responsibilities. If you feel that you really have the material to do this, then I would totally encourage you to be part of it. And then you're gonna have the material, which, given that we went over this, I don't want to like each one of them. Nevertheless, I just want to bring into the conversation if there's anything about this application or project that you would like to ask, then this would be a good moment. So opening that to the public, then does any of you have any questions about these? Just to answer a question that hasn't been asked, then if you have experience as a teaching artist, or if you are really good at the craft but has somewhat of a limited experience as teaching, it is still valid for you to apply. So I would encourage you to really reach out, maybe to Tom Bressi, and explain to him your specific circumstances, and see how do you feel about that. No. I feel that some of you have reached out that part of extending to the end of this, and we are reducing in number. Last opportunity then, if that is it, then I'm going to be moving to the next opportunity, that is the William Steele mural application. And within that, let me share my screen. Where are you? There you are. Cool. This is a bigger project, a little bit more involved, and there is a lot more stake, both in stake and also in return. And not sure how many of you know about William Steele, captain of the Underground Railroad, at least for what I understand is the section that pertains to this area, no? And then it is looking to recognize this figure that through a mural. It's like we have been making an effort to really expand and keep contributing to what narratives are, and which stories get told, and try to open more and recognize. So within, I don't want to go into a history lesson. So what I'll say is, like, go over it, see if this is something that kind of like you align what interest, and you will see that of the requirements. It's like you need to understand the importance of doing due diligence of historic research, which is the part of, like, I am not the one who's going to be doing that. And based on the specifically the project, is like the power of activism. Like, how do we align with these values? When you go to this kind of RFQs, like, see if this is the kind of thing that you would like to be part of, and if you have like those kind of, like, not just alignment but also qualifications. So if there is anything that you want to comment about these, and or where you want to go with this project, then this is the moment. I am cutting it short because I saw that everyone, like, after the small walls, like, and started getting out. Maybe I should have left that one to the end. So if you have any questions about this opportunity, I think this would be it. Let's make it an informal conversation, given that there are just very few of us. No, this is a cricket land now. Interesting. Now, I feel that steam is running out of everyone, not just me. But I don't know if you guys are into this right now. So what I'll say is, in terms of RFPs, RFQs, if you have any questions, or in especially around these two opportunities that we've been talking at the end, is there anything else that you guys would like to add, ask, question, inquire, propose? And if not, is anybody here